Any other questions? Because I know this is a lot of information, and as many times as I've read the bill that passed last year, I still find new nuggets of information. So there's a lot of this comes directly from that. So the language specifically comes from that. The requirements are the state board must adopt rules to set a maximum fee, things like that. A lot of this, basically comes directly from the direction from the statute.
And then the rationale behind doing this start date for the background check relative to folks' due process rights for appeal. And I know there's been a fair amount of conversation about sort of the worry of not including that because you've got folks in the database who have been substantiated, but it's prior to the cutoff. So if somebody does a background check on one of those folks, is there some kind of fine print in the notification that goes out to the employer? Because otherwise, somebody, we're basically sending a message that says, this person is clear, they're not substantiated in our system, when in fact they are. So it just seems like there's a little bit of a ethical dilemma there that I don't know how we address that.
Well, part of that is all APS staff have to be retrained by June 30th, right?
They're all going through the investigations training.
So some of those substantiations, we can't go back and say that they were valid substantiations. So that's why we have to do that July 1st one, because now we have all APS staff trained to the same level of expectation.
Yeah, I understand that in terms of.
And I know what you're saying, that we know
We've got folks in there that
that's a
are
clear
substantiated.
substantiation, but
So perhaps that's a fee that's on the letter that goes out or documentation that says as of July 1st.
Yeah, like a full disclosure, right?
Yeah.
Because of that, it seems like.
Yeah, we can do that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what
bold, but
moderate sized font.
As of July 1, they go
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
So,
Seems like a disclosure.
But that also is in the statute, that nothing prior to when due process starts would be included in that.
I think that would be important information to have on the verification that we're not verifying, that never, we're only verifying that this is what happened.
And, sorry.
I was just gonna say along those lines, I think once the rules pass, we'll have to do some work on our end because there are a lot of those sort of technical kind of caveats, and we'll have some attestation check boxes when people submit the request of I'm attesting that I have written approval from the person that's applying for this job, and a lot of that kind of stuff. And so maybe that's something that we can work with the APS task group, or get some volunteers to kind of help us with to make sure we're covering all those nuances.
So that's what I was going to say, is we have to draft all of these things. We've got the notice to the perpetrator drafted, but there's also then the hit and the miss letters that go to the employers, and what does that look like, and what information is included in there, and what's going to be on the form and that kind of stuff. And the plan is to do it like we do rules, is that my staff will be doing the draft of it, and then we'll take it to the task group and kind of go through those things and fine tune that with the task group. We did not do that with the PERP notification letter with the due process, because we're essentially just mirroring the due process letter that goes out with child welfare. Because that's been a legally tested and legally sound process, so we didn't want to mess with that and just change child to adult. That's needed throughout, right?